grade to age number 1. Before anything else, I'd like to quickly introduce myself first. I am Joan Panis, a student from Ibn Literature Section A class, and I am looking forward to talking with you about the topic, the spirituality. Specifically, this topic is in the coverage of Module 9, which talks about our spiritual self. But for my part, I will be only discussing the concept of spirituality and the true ways of discovering the meaning of life. So today, let's discuss the topic, the concept of spirituality, by reflecting on these questions.
Are you happy with your life now? Do you find meaning on the things you do every day? What makes you truly happy?
As a person, we tend to search for the broad and significant meaning of life. You are seeking for your own purpose in life, so am I. Spirituality can have many different definitions, depending on who is asked. Well, if you ask your friends and family about their own concepts of spirituality, their answers will be probably far different from yours. Well, for me, it can be something as simple as looking for the meaning of life, or something so complex that one can base their beliefs, religions, and overall life around it. There are actually several different ways of expressing one's spirituality, and this can be through rituals, songs, dances, stories, writings are all common methods of expression. Spirituality can be found almost in anything. Finding spirituality in something can make someone feel enlightened and bring strong emotion and deep feeling. So in some cases, people would be willing to sacrifice nearly anything to help maintain the integrity of what they find to be spiritual. But to gather more information and valuable ideas about the topic, the concept of spirituality, let's bring our feet closer to the broad explanation of the topic, the concept of spirituality. So, in Module 8, it was already discussed the definition of the spiritual self, wherein it was defined as who we are at our core. Undoubtedly, it is more permanent than the other two selves, which is the material self and the social self. For it is our subjective and more intimate self. We take a pure self-satisfaction when we think of our ability to argue and discriminate, of our moral sensibility and conscience, of our indomitable will, than we were in any survey of other possessions. So, our spiritual self is the aspect of ourself which develops a certain level of spirituality, which is deemed as man's way of, as well as expressing the meaning and purpose of his life. It also speaks to the quality of one's relating with God, self, other institutions, and God's entire creation, marked by respect, forgiveness, generous service, and prayer. And this spirituality is specified more correctly in the deepening of our faith. Spirituality leads men to a deeper common with the divine, where it is a path of direct and personal connection with the divine or our God. And it also embraces all faiths, social and political ideologies. It also aids a person in spiritual, emotional, physical distress, crisis or discomfort, as well as the seeking to make a significant change in their lives through self-awareness. Above all, this can be a healing process that leads to a personal development. So that's all for the topic, the concept of spirituality. So now moving forward, I will be going to tackle Viktor Frankl's key to happiness. According to him, happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue. To discuss, this only means that if we go looking for the happiness, we won't find it. It's a byproduct of pursuing of something else. Viktor Frankl thought more importantly lived in a way that personified the ability to find meaning in life when faced to many unimaginable suffering. So there were three values or approaches that undergrade a person's happiness or a meaning of life according to him. So the three ways of discovering meaning of life are the experiential values, creative values, and the attitudinal values. So the number one is the experiential values. It involves experiencing something or something we value. These are expressed when we interact in a meaningful way with others. And the most important example of this is the love we feel towards another, like our family, friends, relatives, and our workmates. In this state, love is the ultimate and highest goal to which man can aspire. Another side of this approach includes experiencing the world and appreciating the beautiful or the beauty around us. So the second one is the creative values. So specifically, this is the traditional existential idea of providing oneself with meaning by becoming involved in one's projects, better in the project of one's own life. Wherein it also includes the creativity and passion involved in art, music, writing, invention, and work. It also helps us find meaning during our struggles, for it is characterized by the achievement of the task we engage. So finally, the last approach is called the attitudinal values. Well, in this approach, it includes practicing values such as comparison, braves, a good sense of humor, and the like. But Frankel's most famous example is achieving meaning by the means of our suffering. For broader explanation, attitudinal values speak of the potential we have to make meaningful attitudinal choices in situations involving our suffering, as what I mentioned earlier, and of course, adversity. According to him, our greatest freedom is the freedom to choose our attitude. Thus, the ultimate goal for this approach is a self-transcendence and a spiritual realm, wherein it is a reference to God, a reference to religion. So, to end, I want to impart you to some certain practices and habits for greater satisfaction and happiness. First, we need to reflect, for us to make and take time to stop and notice what we see and feel. Also, the second one is we need to refocus based on what we notice and learn, and then respond. Instead of reaction to circumstances, respond by engaging for betterments of our spirituality. So that would be all, and I hope you have learned something today based on my discussions. So this has been John Panis, and thank you for listening.